Hello there, guys, and welcome back to my channel for yet another Chelsea preview, a Chelsea Premier League preview, as Chelsea are to take on the best team in Liverpool. Because we're facing Everton tomorrow, and as you can see, Liverpool are an absolute shambles. You might be watching it at the same time. If you are, appreciate you hopping on at the same time. It's just a busy day of football, and it was very difficult to actually squeeze the stream in here without any big team playing. But here we are to discuss Chelsea against Everton, which is going to be another huge game in terms of the fight for top four, which is all that we're going to discuss today. Be sure to drop all of your thoughts down in the comment section below, down in the chat. Actually, obviously in the live chat. I'll try to get as much of you involved today as we possibly can. And to do all of that, I am not by myself. I am joined by my partner in crime, Mr. Carefree Lewis G. Bro, how are you?
Long arse weekend. Another one where Chelsea are the last team to play. But here we are, innit? I don't mind. Facing, like you said in the title, the best team in Merseyside. And it's also only being justified by the football right now. Imagine you're getting slapped up by Chelsea and then you're getting slapped up by their little neighbours as well in the same week, both at home. Glorious. And you, man, said you had the best fortress in Premier League history. Can't be arsed.
Honestly, them are all over the shop. Obviously, they might turn it around still, but currently Fulham is leading Liverpool 1-0 at Anfield. A crazy stat, which some of you might not be able to think that much of, but Liverpool have won less games at Anfield this season, at home this season, than bloody Schalke in the Bundesliga. And they've won one game all season. Do you know how crazy that is?
Oh, wait, they've
won only one game all season long, and that was in 2021. So Liverpool in 2021 have won less home games than bloody Schalke.
Okay, I thought you meant over the season. I was like, what?
No,
that's a mad stat. Apparently, Liverpool genuinely have collected the worst points out of anybody in the top four leagues in England.
Might well be. I mean, at home, in the last 7 games, they've had 2 draws and then 5 defeats in a row.
Yeah, deep that. Like, you got League 2 sides that are on better form than Liverpool FC right now.
Honestly, it's honestly mad. It's honestly so deep what's going on there. But hey, for us, the fight for top 4 doesn't stop. It's another huge game coming up. And Everton are in really good form. They should be having a couple of their injured players back. James Rodriguez should be back. Seamus Coleman should be back. And I think Tom Davies as well, although as far as I'm aware, he's not usually a regular starter, I guess. But at the end of the day, it's tough. We always struggle a little bit against Everton, don't we? And obviously with Carlo there in charge and everything, what do you make of the game? Just before we get into more detail, what do you make of it? Do you think it's going to be super difficult, or do you expect us, to get that done?
Bit of both, really. Like, I think we should beat Everton, but also can't discount their recent form. If anything, correct me if I'm wrong, they've won their last 3 games and they haven't conceded a goal in either. So I do expect them to be a hard team to break down, but I also expect us to break them down. Like, we're in the same situation we were in on Wednesday, a point behind the Merseyside team, and we need to go and open up that gap as well. Let's just do it again. It'll be Tuchel's job to break it down, and I just don't want to underestimate Everton, but same way, I still think we can go there and get the 3 points.
Would be good, but yeah, you're absolutely right. They haven't conceded a goal in the last 3 games. 2-0 over Liverpool, 1-0 over Southampton, and then 1-0 over West Brom. Particularly West Brom, not exactly much to shout about, I guess, but still not conceded a goal in the last 3. Before that, they lost 3-1 against Man City, and before that, they actually lost 2-0 against Fulham. So, make of that what you will, but it's definitely gonna be a tough game. I mean, Everton are currently a point behind ourselves. Obviously, we are currently 4th, with Everton sitting in 5th, but they do have a game in hand over us, meaning almost making this game even more important, making a draw even less acceptable on the day, in terms of the league, still acceptable because they have that game in hand. Try everything we possibly can to make sure we get that dub, in my opinion. Do everything we possibly can. And, Tuchel actually said a couple of interesting things over the last few weeks, saying it's not even a bad thing to have one big game after the other, if that makes sense. Because when you have such a tough schedule, and tough schedule in terms of playing every 2 or 3 or 4 days, if the opponent isn't like big, you might, after a few weeks, the players might struggle to get themselves up for it anymore and fight through like the fatigue and the pain. But if you always play big games, you're always going to be up for it. So fatigue is less of an issue, if that makes sense.
Yes, I do agree with that. And I also like the fact that we're in this sort of run because If anything, it builds more confidence in the players, especially if it's a situation that we have where we're unbeaten. It's in this entire run. We're unbeaten since Tuchel joined, and this is the run of games that we were worried about. That will fill us with a lot of confidence. And for teams as well, you got to take Chelsea seriously. We're not the team that was just getting by against wins against Burnley and Sheffield United and teams like that. No, we're now facing Atletico and getting results. Liverpool, we're getting results. United, we didn't lose that game either. So we're doing our job. That builds confidence in the team. That also makes Chelsea more feared. So I'm not against this run of games because it hasn't cost us yet. Like, we've been doing excellently so far.
We really have. Obviously, the Man United game could have still gone a little bit better. Obviously, by the end of the season, if we make top four, we look at that. Okay, we didn't lose. That's all well and good. Hoping, obviously, that Manchester United lose against City today, because I've written off the title, and I think most people have. So, the more points that Manchester United drop and the closer we can possibly get to them tomorrow, the better, if you ask me. Fight for second, I guess. Personally, I've always had the opinion, especially since even as fourth, you don't have to play like Champions League qualification. You're straight in. Ever since then, I've never really made much of a worry about do you come second, third, or fourth. It's kind of like all the same thing to me, other than obviously bragging rights in terms of compared to the teams that finish just below or just above you. I don't really care. But hey, at the end of the day, if you can't finish second, try and finish second. That's kind of the position we're in, and it's possible. It's possible, but Everton are going to be a tough team. Everton are definitely going to be a tough team. They are good defensively for the most part. They have some dangerous players. Richarlison, obviously, James Rodriguez is probably going to be back. Sigurdsson is always a danger. And they have a fair few other players as well. Calvert-Lewin, I mean, he's still up there in terms of the goal scorers in the Premier League. Top goal scorers in the Premier League this season, even though he hasn't been on great form for a while. A little bit like Tammy's season last year, honestly, where they started incredibly strong and you think, oh, they're going to go for Golden Boot. And then obviously second half of the season comes about and they drop it a little bit. But that doesn't mean they're like dreadful. Still a dangerous player that, we don't want to take too lightly. And like you said earlier already, let's not underestimate them. Let's never underestimate any team that's coached by Carlo Ancelotti, honestly. Let's not. Last time we played them, obviously that was under Frank Lampard, but we played them already this season and we dropped the ball there. Mendy dropped the ball there in that game, actually. But we lost 1-0 at Goodison, which wasn't fun, which absolutely wasn't fun. But talking about tomorrow's game, I think the biggest question is in terms of lineup, do we keep it the same or do we change it up? I guess that's probably the biggest question, really. Because there is a case to be made, leave it the same. Obviously, Everton will probably not be quite as aggressive, in particular at Stamford Bridge, as Liverpool, of course, were at Anfield. So one of the big questions is, do we keep Werner up top? And then I guess the other one is Chilwell, Alonso, Hudson-Odoi, Reece James. And then obviously, after a few people didn't know, maybe you didn't hear it either, Lewis, Tuchel did speak after the Liverpool game saying, yeah, Kante is doing great and his fitness is good, but for the time being, he can't play every 90 minutes. So you would presume after he played the last 290 that he'll probably be dropped for this one. Not dropped, but rested. Let's use the nicer wording. I wouldn't be surprised with that at all. What do you think?
Yeah, I definitely see him getting rested. And honestly, for Jovic, it's just the right move anyway. I'm not too worried. We'll have a much better understanding in the midfield. Like, Kante's been excellent next to Jorginho and everything. Like, I rate that. But same way, you can't account for how good Jorginho and Kovacic are together and how good they make each other as well when they pair up. Yeah. So, yeah, we rest them, but we have brilliant rotation. So I'm happy with that too. Like, we've been talking about resting players the entire season. Now it feels like the first time we're doing it.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true. Obviously, a lot of people in the chat. I really appreciate all of you guys obviously giving us your comments. Everyone watching, make sure you drop your comments in there so we know what you guys are thinking. Talking about Pulisic should start, Havertz should start, Werner, Pulisic, Havertz, everything. And that is fair. But there is a few different ways of looking at it. Let's start at the back. Obviously, we'll get into more detail, and obviously, hopefully, the longer the stream goes on, especially when the Liverpool game finishes, more guys will join the stream, and then we'll talk about other topics and maybe question in the chat. But obviously, Mendy will start in goal, right? And after that, we don't change formation either, do we?
No, not really. I feel like when we're talking about formation, the only thing we're thinking about changing is the front three. Yeah. And our front three was Mount, Ziyech, and Werner. I think that might change. But as the overall formation, nah, that ain't going to change.
Yeah, I agree. And realistically, obviously, we don't know for sure whether Thiago Silva is now fit enough to play because, yes, Tuchel didn't give a proper pre-match press conference on Friday as they usually would. He just gave it like in one with the post-match at Anfield. So he wasn't even asked about it. But even then, he gave that on Thursday night. Then the game's Monday night. He probably didn't even know whether Thiago Silva is involved. But even if he is fit, in my opinion, he shouldn't come in. And to be honest, I don't think he will. I think the game where Thiago comes back in for is probably Atletico, because Leeds is about the last game where I think we need the lack of pace that Thiago brings us. Even though it sounds harsh with how great he's been, or not even harsh, but if there is one game where I'm like, yeah, I don't really need Thiago Silva, it's probably Leeds. So I guess the back three stays the same as well, also for tomorrow, isn't it?
Definitely has to stay the same. Maybe Thiago Silva comes in, but also could rest him and bring him back for the Leeds United game. I'm not sure. One or the other, but back three again, based on merit, I don't see how it changes. They've all been balling out the last 5 or 6 games. I've been saying about keep the defensive shape the same. And that's what we should be doing right now. That's one of the things Lampard got the most criticism for.
For sure, yeah, exactly. My thinking is even maybe only bring him back for Atletico, because like I said, Leeds is so fast and Leeds is so much about pace and running that I don't think that's a good game for Thiago either. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, Everton might be the slower game out of the two.
For sure.
Same way it's the Atletico game as well. I don't know, because
I'm thinking just bring him back for Atletico.
The squad. I just don't know when he gets back into the squad.
Yeah, no, he definitely will. I mean, Jester said it here. Everton will probably sit, deep in a block of 4-4-2, and then it will be us, having to make sure they don't hit us on a break and trying to break them down at the same time. Yeah, Thiago Silva was in training. We know. But obviously, he has in the end now been out for over a month. And he is 36, so you don't want to rush him into playing games. It's different being in training and playing games. So I don't want to overdo it. I would personally keep it the same. Just keep it the same back three. Aspi right centre back, Christensen in the middle, Rudiger left centre back. I think we're going to be absolutely fine. And to be honest, coming to the wing backs, I would actually keep them the same. I will explain in a second why Callum Hudson-Odoi doesn't start again. But I think Chile just deserves to play another one. I think he's been brilliant in the last 2. Don't need to change it. I don't think he needs a rest as such. He didn't play a lot of games in the couple of weeks leading up to that. And Reece James has been kind of chopped and changed with Hudson-Odoi constantly anyway, so he shouldn't really be requiring a rest either. I would stick to the same 2. Would you as well, or would you bring Callum in for Reece on the right?
Everton might be the more defensive team.
Oh, they will be, yeah.
So, yeah, I would go for Hudson-Odoi in this sort of game. I do think that works. I also think defensively we stay the same. Right wing back, we keep the same. Left wing back, maybe you might see Alonso for this sort of game. I'm not saying I want to see Marcos Alonso, but you might see Marcos Alonso. And if we do, we got to take it on the chin. But Yeah. I'd go for Ben Chilwell still, but if Alonso starts, I would understand that.
Yeah, the Reece is a difficult one because I a second ago said I keep them the same, but then you just make a fair point. It's about breaking them down. It's such a tough decision because I was thinking play Callum as part of the front 3. Play him as part of the front 3, but it just makes sense. If we're thinking predicted 11, I think he will actually play a right wing back like Reece James. I think he'll stick to it because he was just happy with how we played against Liverpool. But if it was like my decision, I think, I would agree with you and play Callum at right wing back. Midfield 2, I think we both agree, go for Kovacic and Jorginho. Jorginho was brilliant against Liverpool. Kovacic was brilliant in the weeks leading up to it. And Kante needs the odd rest anyway. So I think in that sense, it just makes sense. Leeds will be a very demanding game. So it will be good if he has a rest for that, unless Tuchel's plan is to leave him out of the Leeds game. Because it will be so high demand that, maybe he's a little bit scared for Kante to pick up an injury in that game.
Yeah, because we have tougher games coming up now, and we got to think of the Atletico Madrid game too. No Mason Mount, no Jorginho. We're going to be in a tough state for that game anyway, especially if we do lose N'Golo Kante, and then it becomes a Billy Gilmore Kovacic pivot, which Actually, no, I can't lie. Thinking about it, doesn't sound like a bad pivot, but we won't throw that into the mud against Atletico Madrid. That's not the right game for it. But the point still stands. Kante and Kovacic are the two midfielders we have to protect because they're the only two that's going to be able to play in that pivot against Atletico Madrid. So yeah, if we want to rest Kante, make the rest now.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I mean, even if you want to, even rest him for both Leeds and Everton, bring him on second half in both, but don't start him for either. Then make sure he's fully fresh for Atletico. You know, you could make that case. You could make that case. I didn't even know Ruben didn't start against Liverpool. Slightly disappointed.
Oh, I hadn't even noticed either.
There you go. But I guess the most difficult one about this lineup is the front three, isn't it? Because that's where it becomes tricky because there are so many ways of looking at it. Werner did really good against Liverpool as a number 9, as a striker, but that's because Liverpool played a high line and he had space to attack him behind. If Everton will be a low block probably, and then you don't want Werner up front as a proper striker. You just don't want that. So that's when the question comes back in: Giroud, Tammy, Havertz. Who the hell do you play up top? Because let's be honest, some people are talking about it and whatever. Mason Mount is undroppable. You cannot drop Mason Mount currently. You can't go to Anfield, score the winner, and be dropped. Like, it don't work like that. He starts again. And also, fitness will never be a problem for Mason Mount, let's be honest. Also, he's suspended for Atletico anyway, so he'll get a rest then. He does need a rest until then. So Mason Mount starts. Mason Mount is one of the front three. Whether he's on the left or on the right, who knows? But he definitely starts. But I don't know what to do about the rest because Giroud, yes, but do I really want Werner as that left inside 10 again? I don't know because usually Werner and Giroud up top kind of annoy me together. And then I just don't see Tammy starting. I keep saying the same thing, but I would still love Havertz as the 10 and then Werner off to Havertz as the 9 and then Werner off to his left. I think it would be great. What do you think?
Werner on the left, who in the middle?
Havertz.
Yes.
And then Mount on the right.
Yes. Low-key feel like this will be the right game for it as well. Would it be? Yeah, no. Compared to this one or the Leeds match, yeah, this could be the right game for it. I feel like the Leeds game, he isn't going to get given a lot of time on the ball. Yeah. Especially, compared to the Everton game, because I think either one you won't get a lot of time on the ball. But the Everton game, at the very least, they're going to sit deep a bit more. Leeds, they're going to go straight for him. And we've already said Havertz is adapting to the intensity of the league. So now that wouldn't be the best game to throw him into. Maybe the Everton game, and if he performs well in that match, put him in the same position for the Leeds game. But this is a good start for it. I was worried about for the Liverpool game, not as worried about it for Everton. Even though they're the better team right now, I think it would be better to do that against the defensive side.
Yeah, I agree. And I think Leeds is probably one of those games where you should and could go for Werner as the 9 again, because they will have the space again where him as the striker makes sense, if you think about it. And I don't know, it's just like that for me with Giroud. I know everyone slates me for it and disagrees with it and everything, but to me, it's just when he might play and have a great game, but still, a couple of days later, I'm like, yeah, but I still want to see him. I still don't want to see him start. I have to be so honest. I just don't like it. If we play Giroud and then around him, Pulisic and Mount, that's a bit different. Then I would probably be okay with Giroud. But if we're going to presume that Werner starts regardless, then I don't want Giroud up top. I just really don't. And I mean, not even going to try to pronounce your name. I do apologize, bro. But saying Giroud is only for the Champions League, maybe we go Tammy as striker. I don't know with Tammy. Obviously, he was left out of the Liverpool game with this ongoing ankle problem. Obviously, that, or at least that was the official version. Whether that's true or not, or he was just left out for whatever other reasons, who knows? But he was left out, so we don't even know if he's fit. So that's why I just go with Kai. I don't know. But what do you think Tuchel will do? Obviously, we touched on what we would like to see, but what do you think he'll do?
I could see who did we play before Liverpool? We played Man United and Giroud started, and then there was the Atletico game, and it was Giroud. Giroud started again. Yeah, I could see Olivier Giroud come back into this lineup. Werner on the left. Right is open season, but it'll probably be Mason Mount.
Yeah,
but I say that Hudson-Odoi is playing right wing back. It only makes the other options on the wings Kai Havertz, who I think would play in the middle if we did that sort of formation. Ziyech, who I don't think will start and still hasn't really justified the starting spot for me right now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it'd be Werner, Mount, and Giroud in the middle.
Werner, Mount, and Giroud. Yeah, it's a weird one. Like, I wouldn't be totally excited by it, but I don't disagree. I wouldn't be surprised if that's exactly what we go for. I think the tricky one, when you think about Everton, is they're weird because they're so high up the table. It's not like playing Burnley and we have to break them down. They will probably sit deep a little bit, but they are also a bit like Man United, who can do different things. Like, I don't think it will be a game of they will sit back for 95 minutes and just make sure we don't score. I don't think it will be quite like that. They have really good footballers, especially if James Rodriguez is back. And, they have a good midfield, obviously Allen and whatever else. They have really good players. Digne is a lovely footballer as well down the left. They have the onboard technical abilities to, be a threat at least, right? So it won't be like a simple sit back and, we just have to break them down. So that's why I'm not sure. I mean, it's harsh, isn't it? Because Pulisic still we're basically sat here saying he won't start another game. So that will be Tuchel's 10th game that's not in the FA Cup, and Pulisic again won't have started. It's harsh, isn't it?
It's harsh, but I've already said for this season, I don't care about Pulisic's game time. I just want him to stop getting injured. If we play him despairingly and he doesn't get injured until the end of the season, fine, it was worth it in my opinion. Like, I don't care too much about it. He just needs to stop getting injured, and overplaying him is going to do that. Maybe throw him in for this one game and everything. I understand that, but any sparing use of Pulisic is more than fine by me.
Yeah, I know. You said that a few times, but I just want to ask how you think about that, because if he barely plays or doesn't play all season, what's the difference in that or him being injured? Because if he's on the bench, what difference does it make if he's injured?
Potential valuation fee, and also just him getting another injury and getting even worse. That's the thing that worries me. Because we overplayed him in the Christmas period, and how many injuries did he come back from?
No, you're right. It makes sense what you're saying. So because you said valuation, do you think Pulisic could be one that heads out the door?
Not heads out the door, but we're thinking about this Haaland deal, aren't we? And if they potentially want a player back, if they wanted Pulisic, someone said it, innit? I didn't say it, but I've said every other forward except for Callum Hudson-Odoi and Havertz. If they wanted them, I'd shrug my shoulders at it. So if Pulisic was part of those players, it is what it is.
It's a weird one. Pulisic is a tough one because I'd still feel what I kept saying, that I don't really think Havertz, Werner and Haaland work together long term. Yes, you can play a front two, but if them two are the front two, where on earth do you put Havertz? And that doesn't work. We won't have signed Havertz for 70 million to then not bloody play. And
I've always thought, this is just one to bounce off you. Havertz in the middle, Haaland coming off the left side, Werner coming off the right side.
I don't know.
How does that make you feel?
I've not seen Haaland play like that. He might be capable of it, but he is look how tall he is. Look how,
because they're both fast players in general, and I'm thinking if you get Havertz the ball and he can feed one of them while they're making a run, you've got him on their stronger foot already. And both of them are heavily, well, I won't say heavily 2-foot, but I think both of them can finish with either foot anyway. But at the very least, if you do that formation, you keep them both on their strong side.
Yeah.
You ain't got to come to a conclusion about it already. I've just thrown it on your head now.
Yeah, no, I get you. I get you. To me, it still feels a little bit like playing prime Drogba out wide. I'm not sure if it makes sense. I'm not sure if we wouldn't get more out of Haaland down the middle.
You remember Lukaku at United, and low-key, he was better off at right wing than he was up front. They just didn't really play him there enough. It can work depending on the profile. And also with Haaland's strength, it's just another factor. No one's got a dominant player on the left-hand side as big as a Haaland is. And if he could master that role, and you have Havertz, you have him feeding off Kai Havertz, I'd be really optimistic about that.
I get you. Like I said, my logic is still that I don't think Werner and Haaland in the same team clicks 100%. Not saying it will like never work in any game ever, but I'm saying as a long-term solution of starting most games together. So if you're talking about getting someone out the door, obviously there's someone depending on Pulisic's injuries, right? I just see if we have Haaland, I think we need to play a proper 9. And then we play Havertz as the proper 10. And then we'd have like Pulisic on the left and Hustle on the right, something like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and it will probably be a Werner or Haaland's conversation if we end up getting him. And it's only going to be because...
It's only going to go one way.
It is. And it's likely... I don't think we'll play a 2-striker formation. That's the thing. Maybe we could do a 4-2-2-2, but I do see us going for a formation with one up front, which is going to make the question Werner or Haaland. And like you said, Werner or Haaland, we already know what the winner is. So it's a sticky one, but that's why I said only Hudson-Odoi or Havertz is untouchable right now. Anybody else? Nah. If they want you, you're off, my guy.
Yeah, that's it. And then, we have the question, but where does Mount come in if we play either of these things? Unless Mount adapts to being able to play as part of a double pivot.
Find a way into the lineup.
But Mount will find a way. Watch Mount at some point end up playing right wing back and being really good. I wouldn't be totally shocked. I wouldn't
put it past him. The only place I don't want to see him play is left wing. We've already seen that and go.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait, Liverpool just dropped a flag over Anfield. What?
What, a whole flag?
Yeah, like some unity flag because they're getting piped at home every single week.
By the way, Atletico Madrid are currently leading Real Madrid.
What?
Atletico Madrid are currently leading Real Madrid.
Is Eden Hazard playing?
I think he's still injured, isn't he?
Yeah, Hazard tax don't even count, to be honest. He got that random goal. He's probably spread his legs for them to make it 1-0. Wouldn't be surprised.
So it's good, yeah.
I still ain't forgiving him Barca away.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, that front three by Madrid, Benzema is obviously sick, yeah. But Asensio and Rodrigo, I mean, they're not exactly like the best players in the world, are they? Like maybe Rodrigo is one I haven't seen enough of. And just to quickly get to this comment here, but 0.16, whatever that name is, saying I can see Werner and Haaland working a 4-2-2-2. You're not wrong. I see that as a possibility too. But then I don't see where Havertz plays because I don't really want Havertz as this wide player. I don't think him as a wide player is where I want him. I want him to be at his maximum influence. And I think in the middle is where he's at his maximum influence, whether it's at an attacking 8, a number 10, or a false 9. I want him in one of these 3 positions. I don't want him out wide. So that's why I'm like, realistically, Werner isn't going to long-term get chosen over Havertz. So that's just what I think. And like I said, I think like you do as well, we will play a 1-striker formation at the end of the day. And we know that Werner ain't it as a proper winger. So that's why I'm like, if we get rid of Pulisic, we need another winger because otherwise then we only have one. Like then Hudson-Odoi is our only real winger.
Yes. Yeah, that's why Pulisic probably isn't going to get sold. And I saw Melly's comment earlier as well, talking about how marketable Pulisic is. Another big reason why he probably would end up keeping him. But I still say on ability, if they wanted Pulisic for a Haaland, we probably would still make the move. But that's probably why Pulisic isn't going to be the one sacrificed. You might see it more as a Ziyech, maybe a Werner, because I do think we'll put a player in there to lower the valuation fee. It won't be a Batshuayi or nothing like that. He was decent for them, but he weren't that good for them. Plus, talk about a downgrade. Haaland to Batshuayi. I genuinely feel like we're insulting Dortmund with that sort of move. But a Werner or a Ziyech would probably be the most worrying ones that you'd have to worry about. Mount ain't going either. For
sure. Now, Mount is not going anywhere. And to say he's untouchable, no. In this current system and formation and form, he's untouchable. But this isn't a long-term untouchable, if that makes sense. So it's tough. I'll get to Melly's comment in a second here as well. Jester just said, 4-2-2-2 is 2 wide cams, not wingers. I know, fully, but they're still wide cams. And I don't want Havertz playing as one of these wide inside forwards in a 3-4-2-1 either. Like, I know he's played there, and I know he could be good there, but I don't want him as a wide player. Whether it's a winger or as a wide 10, I don't care. I don't want it. I think he has to be more influential. And it depends on who your two forwards are, I guess. But if one of your two forwards in a 4-2-2-2 is very 10-like, then he will drop deep centrally, and the two other 10s are more wingerly. If I'm trying to find the right words here, but Melly has made a good point here as well. We actually can't judge about who we're going to sell, who we're going to even buy to some extent, before we know which formation Tuchel wants to play. Because he will have to make a decision on that, because we require different players for different formations. Do you know what I mean?
I get that, but Tuchel's also flexible in itself. So I feel the question would still go around, only because I think we'll change to a 4 at the back, but that's all I'm sure about. I'm not sure what the midfield is going to be. Is it going to be a 2 or a 3? I'm not sure if it's going to be 3 in attack, 4 in attack. I'm not sure if we'll play a lone striker or if we'll play 2 strikers. That's why you can't fully judge, but you can also make assumptions about nearly all of them, because I feel we could lose anybody except for Havertz or Hudson-Odoi, and we'd still be able to find a formation that works.
Yeah, no, I definitely see what you're saying. I'm just thinking in terms of, if we want to play proper wingers, and if, Tuchel wants that as one of his main criteria of the team, regardless of then formation, he won't get rid of Pulisic, if that makes sense. But if he doesn't really want to play with proper wingers anyway, we don't have such a dire need for it, and then maybe it's okay to let Pulisic go. Do you see where I'm coming from?
Yeah, Pulisic. If the more I think about it, the less likely it's probably going to be him that leaves, because marketability plus his previous history with Tuchel, he probably know how to utilize him and get the best out of him.
Yeah.
So maybe we wouldn't lose him, and I also think Tuchel's smart enough that he wouldn't overuse him either. So maybe not Pulisic, but same way, I don't know, because we're all thinking about which player could be leaving. To an extent, it also couldn't be any of them.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, Jesters will never give up on his Hudson-Odoi agenda. Like Lewis says, he's one of the ones that will never leave. Jesters is saying he'll be the first one to leave. Who knows? But the Tammy one, Melia said it here as well. We've heard the rumors a couple of days ago, a couple of weeks ago now. If Haaland comes in, Tammy will probably be out the door. And honestly, I think Tammy could do incredibly well at a club like Dortmund, like on a long-term basis, not even just for a season or two. I think that is exactly the type of level league system that Tammy really
that's what you would like, because you can press Tammy and then you just get all clunky and shit. And
that's exactly it. So I think he would do really well at Dortmund. So I wouldn't be totally shocked if we make a Tammy Haaland swap. And
he don't want to re-sign the contract anyway, does he?
So I think, he hasn't extended it yet. I think it runs out at the end of next year, or like next summer. So summer of 2022, I think.
Okay. Yeah. So if you don't sign in the summer, it might be best to just add him in the deal anyway.
Yeah. I mean, Artina said, and I'm not sure that's necessarily where Justice is going with it, but saying he rates Pulisic's ability more than Hudson-Odoi's. I would be inclined to agree with that. In terms of maximum ability, do I think Pulisic is better than Callum? Maybe.
I think he has a maybe, though.
Yeah, it is a maybe. I think Pulisic has a better weak foot than Callum does.
I feel like it's like we're judging Project Restart Pulisic versus Callum Hudson-Odoi now. That's the way I see it. And that's fair, but it's also unfair, because I haven't seen Project Restart Pulisic for anything other than Project Restart. Same thing with Hudson-Odoi. I've only seen this Hudson-Odoi now, but this is all he's threatened to be, and this is the first time he's had semi-decent game time. Pulisic has had decent amount of game time, and it still hasn't worked for the most part. It's not to say Pulisic is finished or anything. I still believe he's a quality player. But even with Hudson-Odoi, we ain't seen his final form yet. He ain't been playing on the left regularly. That's when you're going to see the real Hudson-Odoi. And even right now, he's playing excellently for someone who's on the wrong side of the pitch.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, yeah, obviously the Pulisic from there, you're right. I just trying to judge them of what I can see in them. Like I said, I think Pulisic's quicker. He's better in a one-on-one. He's better weak foot. Crossing, I think Callum is far superior. Callum is stronger. And Callum is less injury prone. I think they almost even each other out in terms of overall. Obviously, just as I said, first of all, I think people, if you think through the history of football, swap deals don't happen very often. So we shouldn't be running around expecting anybody to go to Dortmund for us to get Haaland in the first place. That doesn't mean we won't sell anybody, but not necessarily in a 1-to-1 plus money with Dortmund. I don't necessarily think it will go that way. That happens so rarely that, like, do you know what I mean? And obviously Ryan has said it here, saying Haaland is going to cost upwards of 150 million minimum, maybe even 200 million, 120 million plus Tammy, maybe if we were lucky. I don't know. I think that's overextending it a bit, because Dortmund are in dire need for money. And unless this becomes a bidding war, I think Haaland will go around 100 to 120 million euros. I think. They need money too much to be able to say no to that much money. And like I said, unless it becomes a bidding war between maybe us and Dortmund and Manchester United, Man City, whatever, something like that. I mean, Mehdi has not said it wrong here either. We can't get our hopes too high for Haaland. Like, we shouldn't get too ahead of ourselves and shouldn't sit here almost expecting him to come in. That is a tough one as well. I mean, Jay Paul said marine attacks. We could get Haaland from 150 million downwards to 100 million. You're not wrong. It certainly could happen. I mean, if anyone's capable of it, it is probably Marina.
To be fair, I don't think Haaland was going to be 150 mil anyway. I thought we were going to leave it around the 100, 120 mil mark. And then if it gets to anything above that, a player's getting thrown into the deal as well. I don't expect us to spend too much, because we still have other places we need to sign as well. We still need to get a destroyer. We're still looking at another centre-back too. What else are we looking at? Potential left-back. We're thinking a fourth winger as well.
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely not wrong. You're definitely not wrong. And Haaland would certainly require a lot of the summer budget. I don't know. I mean, Jester made a fair point. Swap deals will become more widespread due to the Rona. Look at the Artur deal with Juventus and obviously Pjanic.
Look at nearly every deal over the summer, to be honest. Like, it was filled with loan deals and swap deals and everything like that. So that's a fair point as well. I wouldn't be surprised to see that again this year, because a lot of clubs are making massive losses because of the virus. That's half the reason why we're going for Erling Haaland as well, because we know we can get him this year because of how broke every other club is. If we wait till next year, we ain't getting him. But if we go this year, we stand a chance. I didn't want to ask, though, what's this thing about Haaland's picking 6 clubs he wanted to join and Chelsea weren't one of them? Like, is that anything legit or what?
I don't know. I asked Dan yesterday, Dan McCarthy, on Friday. He said it ain't true.
What?
Dan McCarthy said it ain't true. Mucka Sport said it ain't true. So
yeah, I thought it weren't true either. It sounds like a load of was. Like, what's his name? Havertz didn't want to join us either, and look where he is now. You think I'm going to listen to, Chelsea ain't big enough for us? Okay, cool. I don't care. It's a load of arse.
Exactly. And I mean, we should probably get to this question by Football Starter. I saw you asked about it a couple of times earlier already. And even though you and me, Lewis, spoke about it a couple of times already, maybe we should touch on it again, saying, Laurenz, why does Tuchel not play Havertz since he became the manager? And he's only played the Wolves match. Since then, we haven't seen him playing any match. And he is overpriced or too expensive to be on the bench. I just don't get it. I mean, you're not totally wrong. You're not totally wrong. I mean, Dave, by the way, big up yourselves.
It's only just a rest thing. I don't mind. Like, we're getting results. If we weren't getting results, we probably would have gone for it. And 2v2, go on, Mitrovic. Good save.
It's still 1-0 though, yeah?
Yeah, still 1-0. 88 minutes now.
Nearly done. But yeah, about Havertz, it's a weird one. Like, again, I spoke to Dan McCarthy, Marca Sport, on Friday, and I touched on this with him as well. And obviously, he had sort of small rumblings, shall we say, within the club that when Kai was injured, say before that Spurs game, that he wasn't actually maybe injured. And maybe it was a little knock, but not as long as he was left out for. And then also, obviously, I saw someone on Twitter who I wasn't 100% sure how reliable they are. They said as well that Tuchel gave Havertz like time off to some extent mental health reasons and to get himself right again. So that kind of connects in terms of maybe he wasn't injured, maybe he was just left out to kind of sort himself out or whatever was going on in the background. I don't know. So maybe that's part of the reason why Kai hasn't been involved basically at all. But I keep asking the same thing as well. People say, he isn't ready to start. He isn't fully fit. He hasn't played for too long, which is true. But how will he ever get there if he doesn't even get minutes as a sub? Because he came on at Anfield with 2.5 minutes left to go. He came on against Atletico with like 5 or 10 minutes left to go. And against Man United, he wasn't brought in at all. So how can he ever get to being fully match fit if he doesn't get more minutes as a sub, if that makes sense? Do you know what I mean?
Yes. And the only reason why I could justify it is because the run of fixtures that we've had. But I understand what you're saying. Yeah, that does make sense. I couldn't really find anything against that.
Yeah, exactly. It's a weird one with Havertz. It's definitely a weird one. Guys, obviously, if you have any other thoughts or topics that you want us to discuss, definitely drop them in the chat. If you want to become a member, by the way, there's a join button underneath. If you want to use the super chat function to support the channel, please feel free to do so. Also, make sure that I see your comments, of course. And subscribe. Subscribe to Lewis, by the way. His title is, or his at is straight in the title. Subscribe to him. Help him reach 25k subs as soon as possible. And we're still on the road to 10k. So make sure you subscribe, smash that like button, and it's a tough one. I mean, Davies said Havertz has gone through so much. I don't know what he's gone through, other than obviously hitting the Rona late last year, but still, it's a tough one. I mean, people are asking interesting questions here. I mean, not to me, but still, would you take Harry Kane for 80 million? That is a weird question, actually. Go on, Lewis. Would you take Harry Kane at Chelsea for 80 million?
Yes. Yeah, he's very well-rounded. I think you could also keep Werner in that sort of situation as well, because Kane ain't going to last a full season. And low-key, Kane might also get the best out of Werner as well, especially if you drop him a little bit deeper. Like, I could drop tribalism for Harry Kane, also just because, Harry Kane's going to win trophies under Chelsea. And that's just material in itself. But,
yeah.
Oh, thank God, what a challenge.
Almost 1-1.
No, I nearly was. Like, who is it? I think that's Jota just put a great ball through the middle of the goal, and Mane was going to tap that in, but Anderson, I think, got a save for it. I will say, big up Anderson as well, but why is this waste man in for Player of the Month and Andreas Christensen isn't? I will never know.
No, like, I don't understand that.
No Chelsea players in Player of the Month. Like, what did we do for a month? Did we just sleep? No, we're still unbeaten.
Yeah, exactly. Like, Christensen should be up there. Arguably Rudiger as well. None of the others, fair enough. Maybe
we should have 2 players in there as a minimum. Like, not even the one. I'll push Christensen because AC prop and he deserves it. But same way, you could put Rudiger in there. You could put Aspi in there. Jorginho, Kovacic. They're all worthy of it.
For sure. Like 100%. But the Kane one is a weird one because we know that he is like proper Spurs, right? Do I even want that at the club? I don't know.
Proper Spurs, but proper Spurs also went to the Invincibles trophy parade in an Arsenal kit. Like,
yeah, I know, but that is a long time ago. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's captain and everything.
The thing. Spurs' big boy, one of their greatest legends, has crossed the pond to West London to go and win some trophies. I don't even care too much about the tribalism. It's like the Fabregas thing. When he first joined, I sat there, I was like, how is this Arsenal knob in a Chelsea shirt? Because I knew Fabregas from the Arsenal days, and I hated him back then. Within like 4 or 5 months, I was like, yeah, bun it. Nah, he's Chelsea's now, and he's about to win the league with us. That's hilarious content. Harry Kane would be the same thing, but it would be doubled because that's their star boy. Literally their star boy. They built from the academy up to the very top of the game just so he could go to Chelsea and win more trophies with us. Love to see it.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. I did see a comment here before I get to Melly's question, because that's a quite good question, which I wanted to talk about a few times, but never have so far. Just quickly, I don't know whether Will is an Everton fan or not, but asking if Everton get top 4 this season, next season, how far in the Champions League do you think Everton can go? I mean, first of all, I don't think they will get top 4 this season. Hopefully we can, put a dent in that hope tomorrow, because if they beat us, I think they might, to be honest. But I think if we beat them, that's kind of them done. Unless Leicester drop the ball.
They're going to lose at 94 minutes. Blow the whistle, my guy. Blow the whistle.
Finish it. Finish it, please. And then everybody that's watching that, come join the stream. But how far do you think Everton can go if they make top 4?
Well, hopefully further than they did last time, innit? Because that was just an embarrassment. I don't know if you remember that back in 2005. They finished 4th, but Liverpool won the Champions League. So Everton had to go through the qualifiers, and they didn't even make it through the qualifiers. So for that sake, hopefully you get further than that, innit?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, hey,
95 minutes. Blow the whistle, man.
End it here. It's time to go.
Had time, for fuck's sake.
It's time to go.
Come on, Fulham.
Exactly. I mean, I don't know. It's a tough one to judge for me.
There we go. 6 losses in a row. No. Do call the free kick, bastard. Can't be arsed.
You've mugged me right off. Someone said Fulham scored.
Hey, I was the one literally celebrating. I
don't think that.
That was 2 minutes ago. So that's definitely not true.
No, exactly. The next question I do want to touch on, though. I mean, Jester said here, Kane at Chelsea is like dating your friend's ex. You can never get out of your head what he told you they did together. It's a no from me.
Yeah. So I take it you don't rate Fabregas and Ashley Cole then? Because that would be the same breath. Like, I understand the feeling, but if you also want to talk about what Harry Kane's done to Chelsea, scored in a 5-3 loss at White Hart Lane. Yes! There we go. That's 6 in a row.
Finally over now. Come on.
Yeah. Scored in a 5-3. Scored in the 2-2 at the Bridge where they bottled the title. Scored 3-1 where we lost at Wembley. And that's about it, really. I'll be real. Kane's quality. I'll take him and run with it.
Fair enough. And one thing I do want to discuss, actually, Melly said it here. Which loanies do you think could be coming back for next season?
Wait, West Ham, Everton, Villa, and Tottenham all have games in hand over Liverpool as well. They are pissed. They are genuinely pissed. And what's the table saying now? Liverpool are 7th place. And everyone underneath them has games in hand up to 12th place. Some have 2 games in hand over they're done.
Honestly, they are in the mud. They are so deeply in the mud. It's crazy.
That's ridiculous, man.
Yeah, honestly. Like, obviously, Klopp spoke about it the other day, like saying, even if we don't make Champions League this season, it won't be a regular thing. But it's almost Chelsea levels. Yes, it's not that bad after we won the league and then Chelsea got sacked and everything. But they are trying. Like, they are trying to be that bad. Like, they're not that far ahead of Arsenal, who are 10th. They're not that far ahead of them.
Behind Arsenal, who also have a game in hand. It's
exactly
mad, but I don't want them to go under Arsenal. I can't lie. They'll take that as a trophy.
They will. But let's go back to the loanies. Do you think any loanies come back? But because our club is so stacked as it is in most positions, and then we will probably sign 3 probably fairly big players in the summer. Do any loanies come back? Because there is a case to be made for Conor Gallagher. There is a case to be made for Ethan Ampadu. There is a case to be made for Malong Sarr, Mark Way. There is a couple of cases to be made. I think the big ones are probably Ampadu and Gallagher because they had Premier League loans, and that means they are closest to being ready. But I don't know. I really don't know if any of them will come back to properly come in. I could see Ethan coming in if Billy goes on loan. I could see Ethan being like a backup DM that we have around, if that makes sense. And, Jester said there is no case for Ampadu. I'm not saying Ampadu will ever make it to be a regular starter week in, week out. But I do see him being a very good squad player that I'd be very happy to have around, if that makes sense. Gallagher, Havertz, Mounts. How is that going to be?
I'd loan him out again. Same thing with Ruben. Mark Gay as well. I'd send them over to another Premier League club. I think there's a lot where there's the opportunity for them to join us, but you're going to limit their game time regardless, just from the off. So I wouldn't keep anyone unless they have a chance of breaking into the starting 11. Loftus-Cheek, again, I'm hearing that too. He needs a second loan, definitely. That's when you're going to get 18, 19 Loftus-Cheek, because he's still not at his best. So if you bring him back, he ain't going to start regularly. And that's not going to be good for his confidence either. You know what a bad Loftus-Cheek looks like when he has no confidence. You remember that Brighton game? Get rid. I don't care. Villa fans don't even want this guy. Like, if you haven't been seeing what Villa fans have been like on Twitter the last few weeks, they're begging us to take him back. Saying shit Barkley down the 840. They're saying he's playing mid. And I'm just sitting there like, all you Chelsea fans who said you wanted Ross Barkley after one good performance against Arsenal at the Emirates, hang your heads in shame. I don't want this guy back. The fact that we've nearly recuperated our entire valuation fee from him just off this one loan deal has just negated any use for him now. He's lived his purpose. We've nearly got the 50 million back. Now get rid, because he ain't going to offer anything. You want Barkley in the team only if you want a sixth option and someone who should be happy to be that fifth or sixth option. Then keep Barkley. Other than that, no. Like, there's no reason to keep him. If you want a quality side, he ain't a quality player for that side.
Yeah. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Like, Barkley is just a no for me. Like, Barkley wasn't at it.
Get rid of anything mid from the 17-18 season, because that season just needs to get in the bin. And everyone we signed except for Giroud. I feel bad for Giroud that he's actually hooped in with all of them as well.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. Like, Barkley just wasn't it. We were happy to get rid of Barkley. Obviously, he started the season well at Villa, and obviously in that 7-2 thumping of Liverpool, it was all well and good. But we don't want Barkley at Chelsea. I know he scored an unbelievable solo goal against Liverpool last season in the FA Cup, but don't get tricked by these things. Don't get tricked by them. Like, really don't.
Don't get tricked by individual performances in individual games. I want you to show me consistency. If Barkley showed that for 10, 15, 20 games, I'd hold my hands up and say, you know what? Maybe I misjudged Ross Barkley. No, I haven't seen anything. I've seen a couple good performances in a few big games. Ross Barkley FC. You'll turn up against the big teams if you even dare to play him against the big teams, which is more fool you if you do that. And any other team that isn't gets done. Like, I always see what Barkley's trying to do, but he can barely ever translate it to his feet. And that's just the story of Barkley's game, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I fully agree. I mean, just as made a fair comment, to be honest, because, you know, obviously we always thought about this. Oh, you know, it was just 2020 and, you know, 2021, everything's going to be better. And everyone said, oh, just we'll wait for 2021 and everything's going to be good. Well, we're now 3 months in and everybody's still in lockdown and everything. So let's not get too ahead of ourselves. And Jester makes a fair point. We couldn't sell people last summer. There is a good chance we won't be able to get rid of a lot of players this summer either. You know, people haven't had fans in stadiums for, by that point, nearly 18 months. That is a big revenue stream lost for a lot of clubs. Obviously, TV money is a thing, regardless of which top 5 league you're talking about. But these Italian teams, these Spanish teams, some of the Bundesliga teams, they won't be able to buy the Emersons from us, buy the Jorginhos from us. They won't afford the money that we will want for them. So a lot of it will probably be loans again, don't you think?
Yes and no. I think no, it depends on the club. Because half the reason why we couldn't get rid of the players is because we had our valuation fees so high.
Yeah, for sure.
Everyone had lowered them because of the market, because they need to sell players too to make profit. But because we didn't necessarily need to sell them to make profit, we still had them at that high valuation fee, which is why we couldn't sell Kepa, which is why we couldn't sell Rudiger or Jorginho or any of the other players that Lampard wanted to get rid of at that time. This season, if we go for the same thing, we should expect the same results. If we're smarter, though, and we lower our valuation fee, we could be able to get rid of a few players as well. Big up Ryan in the chat too. Exactly. But it all depends on the club. If we're stubborn, then expect us to still have a massive squad. But that's going to be a problem in itself for Tuchel. For
sure. I mean, Johnny Sins, obviously we all know who the real Johnny Sins is, but let's just ignore that. Aye?
Klopp in, man. Keep this form going. This is
exactly. I mean, he also said a minute ago, easy win for Everton. So I don't know who he supports, but the club out debate, I just want to touch on it quickly. But you think, like, take the Chelsea view out of it, right? Do you think Liverpool should?
Should what?
Get rid?
Oh, no, definitely not. Definitely not. Like, this is clearly just off the field problems and a bunch of injuries. Like, Liverpool have just had an awful season. I was saying as well when I was on James Redmond's channel, if these guys finish outside of the top 7, then they're going to walk the league next season. And no one's ready for it. Because with their style of play and the lack of European football, we saw how big that was for us under Antonio Conte. But with how strong their pressing system is, you give them a week's rest nearly every week on top. No one is going to be able to match them. They'll genuinely be so hard to break down as a side. I hate that I even gas up Liverpool like this, but it's true. If they get Europa League football, maybe we stand a chance. Or same way, Jurgen Klopp don't care about that competition either. He'll play the kids. So I think Liverpool are a big chance to win the league next season.
I don't disagree. Obviously, it will be interesting for Liverpool who they lose. Do they lose any of Mane or Salah, if at all? Will Van Dijk be the same player when he comes back from this injury? Because people forget that ACL injuries have ruined players' careers. So it's not as simple as, oh, when Van Dijk is back, they'll have all their problems solved again. He might not be the same Van Dijk anymore. He might not. But I fully agree with you. If they finish outside, I don't think if it's Europa League it works. But if they have no European football, I think they're probably gonna not walk it, but still. But I'm gonna ask one question as the last question about this Liverpool topic. If it was Chelsea in the same position, winning the Champions League in 2018 or 2019, winning the Premier League in 2020, and now in their form, would we be sacking Klopp right now?
With what he's won, no. Because I do think we have been pushing for sustainability anyway. So with that in mind, I think we would give Jurgen Klopp the second season. If it's the same way it's been with Chelsea, he would have won the league for us last season and Champions League the season before. And it'd be clear that he's building a legacy. We'd allow him to continue building that. Also, with all the outside the pitch issues, I'd understand it from a Chelsea perspective. I'd hate the situation we're in, but I'd get it.
Yeah, fair enough. Random question, but I mean, I think it's a big no. But do you think Lampard could be the next England manager after Southgate?
Maybe. I've heard him linked more with the Celtic job, which for all your tribal, your Dar Chelsea fans are all going to hate, but be a good role for him, to be honest. Like, it's a top team, but in a lower quality league, which will probably get the best out of Lampard.
It will be a tough one because it could also make Lampard look a bit stupid if Gerrard stays at Rangers.
Lampard versus Gerrard. Lampard v Gerrard, though, I'd watch that. I'd watch the hell out of that. It'd be mad seeing Chelsea fans back. Chelsea fans would be backing Gerrard in a Lampard v Gerrard argument. It would be ridiculous.
It really will be. It really will be. But that's what I'm saying, because it's a risky job for Frank to take if Gerrard stays at Rangers. Because if that doesn't go well, as players, they've always been compared. And now as managers, they're being compared. And if he goes to the same league, to the same size club, let's be honest, they'll expect him to beat like Gerrard. And if it doesn't do
it, if he doesn't do it, I think he'll do it in time. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, Gerrard hasn't just gone there and walked the league straight away. He's needed time. They won't give Lampard time, but I think long term it will still be what's best for him. And also, if Gerrard continues to succeed at Rangers, he won't be there for long either. He'll be the one that goes. Maybe he'll be the one going to England. So it's all speculation, but it would be embarrassing if you lost it to Gerrard. But same way, you could also take the title from Gerrard. It goes both ways. But then you're also back in Celtic, and as Chelsea fans, it'd be like, because you know the partnership with Chelsea, Rangers, and everything.
Yeah, of course. And Liverpool, Celtic as well, actually. It's like, it's weird anyway that Rangers ever went, that Gerrard ever went Rangers in the first place.
It is, but I feel like he could have gone anywhere, really. Anywhere that's not at the top level immediately, if you get what I mean. Like, Celtic are, but they are in Scotland. And the Scottish League is way lower quality to the English League or anywhere in the top 5 leagues.
Oh, obviously.
So I think it's been the right move for him.
It could be. I don't know why Farcard is mentioning Asensio here. I think he's I'm not even sure whether he's overrated anymore. He barely plays for Real Madrid. He's got one of the world's best touches. Great left foot, but no pace, pretty much, and is one of the most inconsistent players you'll ever see. And I have to ask you this, because me and Melly have had, not an argument, but discussion about this, because I tweeted this recently, and it was like, would you rather your country win the World Cup or your club win the Champions League?
I'd want to see the reaction to England winning the World Cup, only because I haven't seen that before. But if you ask me what my personal opinion is, Chelsea winning the Champions League every day of the week. I don't care enough about international football for that. I'd love to see England win the World Cup. I can't lie. Like, if you offer that to me, I would see. And I do think in 4 to 8 years, you might see it with the squad that we have. But Chelsea winning the Champions League twice. I can't lie. That triggers something inside of me a lot more than England winning the World Cup would. If England win the World Cup, I'm just going to hear it's coming home the whole summer. And I'm going to want to rip my ears off. Like the 2018 World Cup, everyone was getting all patriotic and everything. I was just sitting there saying, literally everybody is saying it's coming home. Do you guys have any ounce of creativity in you other than the same 3 words on repeat? Like, we beat Tunisia 2-1. With a Harry Kane last-minute winner, and we're chanting it's coming home, and it's the group stage. Like, I say it quietly. When Mandzukic scored that second goal, I kind of laughed a little bit inside. I was like, yeah,
I laughed as well. I was watching that game with a lot of English fans here, and they was all head in hands, and I thought it was quite funny.
I'll be real. I was also thrashed out my head when that second goal went in. So I saw the whole pub just go quiet, and I was just like, oh. So you guys aren't trying to coming home now? Because when Trippier scored that free kick, you're all getting ahead of yourselves. I'm so neutral when it comes to international games. Because really and truly, I just don't want our players to get injured. Like, if we go through the whole international break and there's no Chelsea injuries, that's what I'll celebrate, not the trophy.
Exactly, but that's because obviously me and Melly had this discussion because she fully goes with you. Like Switzerland, obviously she's Swiss. To people that don't know, my girlfriend's Swiss. And she would prefer Chelsea winning the Champions League over that. But I said I probably prefer Austria winning the World Cup. And I said it in a way that, first of all, like you said it, you think England have a chance of winning the World Cup in the next decade, shall we say, right? Austria haven't even qualified for a World Cup since 1998. I don't even remember that. Like, so for us winning the World Cup, is so outrageous. It's not even something I could sit here like you saying England might just do it anyway, no matter what I wish for. Do you know what I mean? And that's what I think for Chelsea, because I think Chelsea might just do that anyway within the next decade. Austria definitely won't win the World Cup without me using up a wish, if that makes sense. And it's just, obviously, the country has never seen that. I mean, obviously, England has been since 1966 as well, but still, it's a weird debate. Obviously, it's a weird debate. And I said this in my tweet when I tweeted this like a week ago. English people, Germans, French people, whatever, even Italians, they will probably never understand that sentiment of someone from a small country. Obviously, Melly is from a small country, so it's kind of, she clearly disagrees. But yeah, for me, it's like, this will never happen for Austria. So I kind of have to use up my wish.
Yeah. No. For you lot, Austria as well, I totally understand that. If you lot went from never qualifying to winning the whole fucking thing, like that's crazy. But
exactly.
Yeah, Austria, I understand. Like England, I just think I'd love it, but we'd also just be so unbearable about it. After a while, I'd just be like, shut up, man. I can't be arsed.
That is true. And it's also a case like if Chelsea hadn't won the Champions League yet, it would be clearly Chelsea. But we did
If Chelsea hadn't won the Champions League, I wouldn't even debate this with you. I can't lie. It would just be Chelsea. I'm done with it.
Exactly. And there's also, I will also make one case. I love being in the stadium, and me not being a season ticket holder at Chelsea, the likelihood of getting a ticket to the Champions League final that Chelsea is involved in are near zero. There is a chance I'd get a ticket to an Austria World Cup final. So, I have to weigh that up a little bit as well. I mean, you might get a ticket for a Chelsea Champions League final. For you, it's different, but I wouldn't.
Maybe. Actually, no. I will say slight Blues fans TV tax. We might be able to get you a ticket. You never know. Because I could probably get through the season ticket. So if I get the season ticket and we suddenly have a big branding deal for the Champions League final, then I know who should be taking that.
Oh, yeah. No, obviously, if it's that way, do you know what I mean? Like, it's a different story. Would you take Richarlison and Calvert-Lewin for 125 million? Absolutely not. 125 million? Can I just get Haaland and not either of those two?
What? We ain't in 2017, my guy. We ain't doing stupid deals no more like that. I'd be back on the Marina out bandwagon like it's 17-18 again if we did that sort of fuckery. No, that's terrible. Please. No, is there another question?
There you go.
125 million.
That's a madness, isn't it?
Nah, like they're probably worth 80 million together, but I still wouldn't take them. That's just what their valuation would be.
I wouldn't even be surprised if Everton asked 125 million for them together. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, but I'd also totally understand Marina hanging up as soon as she heard that.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. But it is a good question in terms of bringing us back to Everton. Obviously, we went a bit off topic today, but why not? You know, it's a good laugh. It's a Sunday. Everyone's doing other things than watching streams, clearly. Nah. You know, big up to everyone that is watching. Really do appreciate it. Make sure you subscribe, smash the like button, subscribe to Lewis. Let's get maximum likes here. Like, we have 120 people watching, 56 likes. So make sure we get at least close to 100. And if you're here and don't have a Google account, well, then make a Google account. It doesn't take you that long. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. I mean, Jester said he wouldn't give a packet of crisps for Richarlison. So you know what makes that even funnier is that Jester is American and purposely didn't say chips but crisps for the saying. That makes that one even better.
The English lingo done as well. You love to see it. Big up Jester, man.
Exactly.
Every time.
I mean, I don't know what our team is talking about. Probably talking to Melly in the chat, saying, "I remember when this comedian called Michael McIntyre mocked England's national anthem, national team, in front of Heskey. It was so iconic." I mean, Heskey is a kind of meme in itself, isn't he? I mean, Heskey got more famous through KSI than he would have been otherwise.
He is, and it's low-key peak because he was a quality player in his prime, but everyone just remembers him as that dog shit football player from FIFA 11 or something like that. And it's like. Yeah. I mean,
people think he's like Akinfenwa.
Yeah, not even that worse. Like, they just genuinely think he's like an aging tree. Like, if you got someone's 40-something-year-old uncle to play football. But really and truly, what a centre forward in his prime. The Heskey-Owen partnership was lethal for Liverpool. Hate to say it. Like, that's what I was saying. I was hoping Tammy and Timo would have similar vibes, but here we are, innit?
There you go. Yeah, exactly. Heskey time. Bitch, I'm Heskey. That's it. But
Heskey, oh my. Wow. I haven't heard that saying in a minute, you know. Big up, Dave.
Exactly. Honestly, Heskey time was a good laugh back in the day, honestly. But yeah, Liverpool did lose again. And that's why the title and the thumbnail do say we're playing the best team in Liverpool, and it ain't Liverpool. And it's been a long time since anyone could say that because it's crazy. It's a tough one. So with that, we've been going for an hour and 10 minutes. Let's probably get to score predictions. We talked through our teams already a long time ago. Let's just run you through it quickly again, guys. We'll both go for Mendy, Christensen, Aspie, Ridiger, Hudson-Odoi, Chilwell, Kovacic, Jorginho, because to give Kante a rest after Tuchel said he can't play every 90 minutes. And then at the front three, we're not sure. Mount will start. I would go Havertz, Werner. Lewis would go Havertz, Werner, but we think Tuchel will go Mount, Giroud, Werner. So just to quickly run it down, but let's get to score predictions. And I will put you on the spot, Lou. How do you think that will go? Are you confident? Are you nervous? What are you saying?
Nervous, but optimistic. I'm interested to see how Everton approach this game, but I also believe in Chelsea now, and that's something I haven't properly believed in a while. So regardless of what we face, I do think we can get the 3 points. I feel like Chelsea on their day can beat anybody again. So Everton ain't going to be anything too much for it. I'm confident. I don't think it's going to be easy, but it'll be doable.
Yeah, it is doable. It will be tough. I mean, the same issues will still apply, won't they, realistically? Because Liverpool played a super high line and we should have scored more than one goal. Obviously, the VAR goal is a debate in itself, right? But we still have to actually create more chances against a team that sits deep. And that's the only small thing I'm worried about. I do believe in our defense. I think we'll be capable of dealing with Everton's counter-attacking. I do believe in them now. Even if it's Callum at right wing back, I think we'll manage. Also, almost doesn't matter who plays in the double pivot. We'll manage. I'm just not 1,000% convinced whether we'll score. But I do think we'll get the dub. I do actually agree with Dave, not necessarily goal scorers, but I do think 2-0 is probably a somewhat realistic scoreline that I'd be very happy with. And someone said it in the chat, I think it was our team, do a mini play predictor. Who do you think will score first in terms of not team? Which Chelsea player do you think he'll score first?
Fuck it, Werner.
Werner?
Yeah,
right.
yeah. I'm gonna back the agenda. Timo Werner. Fuck it. Well overdue for that BS on Thursday as well.
Yeah. I'm not gonna predict this actually in the play predictor because you have to do it tactically for points. But my total honest answer is probably Jorginho from the penalty spot.
Well, them playing defensive, I wouldn't blame you for thinking that. That's not a bad
Exactly.
That's
Exactly. Because I don't see Werner scoring a goal against a deep side. Giroud is always my opinion in the Prem. Probably won't score or score a screamer. And Mount, he already scored last week. We can't expect Mount to score every game. So that's why I'm probably saying Jorginho. But I think we're going to leave it here, guys. I really do appreciate every single one of you that has tuned in. It's been a bit of a slower day, but hey, some days are like that. We'll be back tomorrow. Of course, first the Blues Fans TV live review after losers watch along. And then jumping straight over here from my Player Ratings live stream with hopefully, I haven't spoken to him yet, but hopefully CFC Pies, maybe a couple of other people as well. Let's see. Definitely going to get involved with that. But ladies and gentlemen, be sure to subscribe to my channel. We're on the road to 10K. We're getting there ever so, not slowly, but we're getting there slowly but surely. We're nearing the 9K now, which is, good. So make sure you get involved, subscribe, smash the like button. Let me see how many we're on. And in the meantime, you can already subscribe to Lewis. His link is in the title. Just click his @ and subscribe to him. Help him reach 25K. Just reached 21. So that's big up yourselves.
Finally, it took a month to do that. Can't be asked.
There you go. So let's get him to 25K by tomorrow, I say. Why not?
Oh, please. Fucking hell, yeah.
That'd be sick. There you go. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching.
15K, because well overdue.
Exactly. Let's make that happen. Oh, subscribe, smash the like button, drop become a member if you fancy it. There's a join button underneath. But yeah, we're gonna leave it here. Looking forward to the game tomorrow. Massive thank you to Lewis for coming on fairly short notice as well. But yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Up the Chelsea, and I'll see you next time.